Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside me, Harry Glanz.
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Fantastic, Harry. And, of course, we bring in from our office, Lisa Lawson. Easy for me to say.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Lisa, good morning to you. You look fantastic, as always, bright and cheery as you come in from the east side and bringing none other than Southeast Michigan's fantastic Matt Bush.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, great, Matt. Thanks for joining us again on Wednesday, also for the podcast. And Matt Bush, of course, from RE/MAX First. You got your true colors on there today. Matt, we're going to talk about some great things about mortgages and real estate today. Harry, there's some things that are going on that people need to know about, and that's what we've always shared with them on the show. And again, 248-539-9797 if you'd like to come in and bring these situations and issues up.
Yeah, let's go, everybody. I mean, there's a lot of questions, a lot of activity. People think that there's not a lot of activity in the real estate market, right? They hear the negative. They hear not a lack of inventory, Matt, a lack of quality inventory. People are going out, but there's not a lack of buyers, and there's certainly not a lack of information. You need to have all the information. You need to be armed and dangerous before you go out looking for that house, because, Matt, you're not running around with people that aren't qualified.
Absolutely not, because you don't even know what you're qualified for, or you don't know where to shop if you don't know what you're qualified for. So getting the pre-approval is just the step one of the entire home buying process.
Well, and prices are going up. Right?
Absolutely.
So it changes every single day on what people can qualify for. If they're not in touch with you and their mortgage lender, and this public service announcement, and we do a consumer advocacy show every week and every Wednesday on our podcast, this is for all realtors and all lenders out there. Don't waste your time going out and showing people houses and qualifying people for mortgages unless you're doing this and checking back with them every day. Because why? The real estate market and the mortgage market changes every single day.
And we were just talking about this outside before we got on. It's not always about the pre-approval number. It's about what's the monthly going to be. It makes no sense to buy a $500,000 house if you can't afford your monthly payment. So that the big number isn't what's important. It's usually what comes down to, what am I paying every single month to maintain my lifestyle? Because you don't want to, have this fancy house that you can't afford to keep the lights on because you're putting it all in your monthly note.
We also join in with Becky Alley here. Becky, good morning. Thank you for joining us there. You there, Beck? We got you? Oh, we might have missed her. Okay, we'll try that one again. She'll call back. All right, 248-539-9797. Lisa Lawson. We were talking numbers and house payments and how important it is to make sure that not only are you qualified for the house, so you can see things moving in the future. Property taxes will go up a little bit. We're in a little bit of a lot of a recession. They're trying to stem this. And again, we're seeing serious changes out there in the marketplace. Your stock market has been beaten up at the beginning of 2022.
Grocery bills are going up. Gas bills are going up.
Cost of life.
Filling up your tank. So, as rates also go up, we're talking about mortgage interest rates right now. As rates go up, the ability for you to have, you may have qualified for example, $400,000 house when the rates were in the threes, but now rates are in the fives. So maybe your $400,000 approval is now a 350, 360. So, obviously as rates go up, that impacts your buying power. And so you may have had, unfortunately, when we have low inventory, people have to look for homes maybe a little bit longer. So if you've been looking for 3, 4, 5 months and you haven't found the exact right house, you have to make sure that your approval is still updated and accurate. Because if you're still looking in that 400 price range, which really means you should be looking at, 380 maybe or a little less, because with all these guarantees and insane market, a lot of people are going over asking, shopping at the top doesn't leave you that room. You need to really make sure that you've given yourself the opportunity to make the best offer. And that sometimes means dropping the price that you're looking at. So you can get an offer accepted. If you're approved for 400 and you're looking at 400, odds are that's going to be much more difficult for you to get accepted because you won't have the ability to make any guarantees. You won't be able to offer over asking, all those other issues.
Right.
So, it's so important to have it updated, make sure that your loan officer is communicating with you, letting you know, hey, this may have changed. This is where you're at now. And so that you're guys having that open dialogue so there's no surprises.
And as a listing agent, if I'm getting a pre-approval letter for the exact amount or right about the amount that the offer comes in, I'm on the phone because I'm concerned, like Lisa said, if the offer's at 400, the pre-approval letter's at 400, is there anything that's, that I'm missing here? Like if you're at the top of your budget, if anything goes wrong with that process, interest rates tick up again during that pending period,
right?
We might not have a deal come, 3-4 weeks down the line. So,
right.
I want to see a pre-approval for 400 if I'm, listing a house at, like you said, 380, because I want to know that they have some room. So if something comes up, we're not going to just kind of, oh, hey,
Oops.
DTI went crazy, debt to income ratio went crazy, and or something happened, and now we can't underwrite this loan.
So, Matt, how do you feel about getting multiple approval letters? So you're taking somebody out, and you know that they qualify for a $400,000 purchase price. What is wrong with a loan officer giving you a pre-approval at 3.25, 350, 375, 400 purchase price?
Honestly, I think Lisa and I have that exact strategy most
do that
times,
often, yeah.
just so I know I can. I mean, I don't want to kind of leave my buyers dirty laundry on. If I'm writing an offer on a 350 house, I don't want to include a $400,000 offer. I want something that's 375 because I don't want the buyer to come back, or the seller rather, saying, "Hey, we know you're approved to 400. Why don't you just push it up again?"
So everybody out there, that's called negotiation, right? You don't want to show your hand and your ultimate number up front. Now, that's why you have to have a savvy realtor, because you know what? Maybe the first offer has to be the best offer. Mm-hmm. You don't know as a buyer, but you certainly know as a realtor where these people can go when they're selling the house. So that's why if you arm your realtor with multiple approval letters and give them an option, as long as they know they're working for you, and you're going to go ahead and trust them that they're going to negotiate in your best interest.
And honestly, that's why it's super important to have a banker like Lisa. Like, I think we do almost a deal a month at this point, because I know that whether it's Monday at 9 a.m. or Thursday at 5 p.m. or even Friday at 9 p.m. sometimes,
Right.
I know that I can get Lisa on the phone or shoot her a text and get that pre-approval back to me immediately. And she's going to answer all my questions. She's going to know the loan program. She's going to know the buyer like the back of her hand, to where I can say, hey, we just saw this house. I need this. And it's in my inbox faster than I can even finish the call with Lisa.
Well, that's the way the market is. The market's moving at stealth speed anyways.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Or warp speed. I apologize. Stealth. Nothing's under the radar anymore.
No.
That's for sure. It's at warp speed right now, everybody.
Becky Alley, we sort of like that conversation, giving your buyer a little bit of cushion. If you're a $400,000 buyer, maybe you have a couple approvals there, 429, 439. Each buyer knows their maximum purchase price, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, if you are, looking to buy, it's important that you know every scenario and what it looks like at 5%, 10% down, because you never know if there's an escalation clause on an offer that might be on a home already. Like, so for example, we had a home that was on the market, 315 was the list price, and everyone knew that there was an offer on the table that could possibly escalate that purchase price up to 325. Well, before you know it, a 315 house went up to 330,
Right.
And our buyers were looking to win, but we had to also make sure that we had the full appraisal guarantee, because that's what's happening. So for our listeners, you have a 315 house. It's now been pushed up because of all the demand up to 330, and now they're wanting to make sure that the buyers, not only can they come up with their down payment, their closing costs, and all the extra things, they want to make sure that, okay, well, can you back up a $15,000 gap, because we don't think this house is going to appraise for more than 330, right? And that's where buyers are getting into trouble sometimes, if they're not working with the proper people, like you guys are talking about, where they have no idea that now instead of bringing 30,000, they could potentially have to bring 45,000. And some people just don't have that kind of cash laying around when you're already pushing towards your maximum budget. So it's definitely important to know what you got going on in every scenario, because if you don't plan for worst case, guess what's going to happen? Worst case scenario.
Right.
Matt, how about having a great lender with an escalation clause and a couple of approval letters, and you've spoken to the lender, you're ready to go? That escalation clause is going to win most offers.
Yeah, there's kind of a thought though, like, how do I guarantee the escalation clause is correct? Like, do I have to? So if let's say I get 5 offers, right, and one has, we're going to guarantee $1 over the next best offer. Am I supposed to show you the actual best offer? Am I supposed to
have to
like
always.
put? Well, some agents, I know that I
agents,
know.
it's written in the contract.
Yeah, I know that if I'm putting an escalation clause in, I want to see the other offer, but at the
Right.
same rate, like then I'm kind of showing somebody else's offer. So there's kind of there's a
more than
really
$1.
big ethical,
Yeah, I gotcha.
kind of ambiguity of like what is and isn't legal. So
I think you have to disclose it. That's my opinion, is you have to disclose it.
Yeah,
If you
so-
say there's escalation clause, easy for me to say, and you say $1 over, then it's incumbent upon you to go ahead and show that the other offer is $1 over.
yeah, but then it comes to, do I show your offer to Harvey, because that makes it valid? It's one of those really weird things that we're kind of
We'll
working with.
come back and tie in a little bit more conversation about escalation clauses, how to get your offer accepted. 248-539-9797. We'll be back. Alrighty, welcome back to the show 916. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. You can find us at Capital all weekend long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Check us out, of course, over 30 years in your own backyard, a mortgage experience. That means a lot, Matt. We're going to talk about experience when you've gone through these deals, and nothing's better, Matt, than great communication and having some knowledge. And we share that with you here on the show. Of course, Matt Bush joins us along with Lisa Lawson, Harry Glanz. I got Becky Alley on the cell phone also. And Becky, just jump in whenever you want here. Matt will keep us busy. Matt, not only are these first-time home buyers struggling because of the inventory situation, they've got almost 20 to 27% investors out there. They've obviously jumped in the last couple of years with all-time low interest rates. They've wanted to buy up the market, and they were cash buyers. They big hedge fund buyers across the United States, driving sales prices up, knocking down our inventory. Some strategies out there for first-time home buyers, at minimum, is to really have a plan and a real team together. And we're still seeing about only 50% of the families really preparing themselves.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes too. So there's a lot of communication between agents. We were kind of talking about this also off air. Like, if I'm working with an agent, I called you. I'm looking for a home in the western suburbs. So hey, if you're looking to sell your house in the western suburbs for about $200 to $250, give me a call. 248-539-9797. I've got a buyer for you. But a lot of times it's me calling other agents that work in those areas and saying, hey, what do you got coming up? I've got a buyer. We're looking for this. We're doing this. Can we, put some families together and really help a couple of people out, to avoid having to fight with investors and hedge funds and all that stuff. Like, this is what my guy's looking to do. You've got a family that wants to help this. So how can we, both succeed and make everybody at the table happy?
Sort of an unconventional way of getting out there.
Yeah, so Matt and Becky, I'm going to go to you, Becky, first on this. And we talked about it on the podcast. You weren't on the podcast. Matt was. Lisa was. Harvey opted out. But bottom line is this. Slow start to the year. Why is there a slow start to this year? Is it weather related? Is it lack of inventory? Is it the investor market? Is it because rates have gone up so hard? What do you feel, Becky? You're on the street every day. The market is moving very, very quickly, as you indicated in our first segment. What has contributed to this slow start? But you don't have a lack of buyers, though.
I don't know what you're speaking of, a slow start. I feel like it's been nonstop. I mean, there are a lot more buyers, obviously, out there walking out pre-approvals, but I haven't felt any slow start to anything. Now, I do think that people took a time out because they were frustrated, over, like the way the offers are going and they're being priced out. And they're also going back trying to see if they can save more money because, sometimes getting an offer accepted is having that extra $5,000, right? So you have to be empathetic to them because you're talking about people that are everyone's at the top end of their budget. And I feel like in some cases, some people might have gotten out in regards to they think that maybe what they're getting for the price point isn't better than where they're at right now. And then you also have all this cash that's flowing around in these homes right now. These prices are going up and there's cash in them. These are not artificially inflated prices based off of appraisals. These are people, consumers, pushing this market where it's at, and coupling that with the rates, I feel like some people have become a little bit gun shy, but it's also, I feel like it's ramped people up. Like we've talked about where people stand in line, you don't know what you're standing in line for, but I'm going to stand in line with you because I want whatever you're buying. Right. And I feel like when there's that idea that someone might miss out on something, that's when they get into the game a little bit. So all these people that could have been buying homes a year ago when the rates were better and they thought these rates were going down to zero, well, now they're getting back in the market because now they're clearly not going to zero because they're in the fives and they're back in it and they're wishing they would have.
FOMO, right? I mean, fear of missing out. That's exactly what this is about.
Yeah.
All right. Also, 3%, 5%, 10%, 20% down. Reevaluate your plan. You can put a little bit less money down if you have to overpay a little bit more for the house. And again, what is your plan? If you're just going to stay in the house, if this is your forever home or you're going to put the kids into that school district, well, then you don't have to worry about it as much. And then also, one of the components that I see that maybe the new buyers are missing, maybe there's a possibility down the road where you're going to change your mortgage anyways. There's a lot of reasons why, even if the rates aren't down in the future, maybe they're the same as they are today. If they're down, you'll refinance. Maybe just want to drop the years lease. We see that in other ways to save money.
Yeah, reduce your term, take cash out, make home improvements. Maybe you're buying a house that you'll be in for 15 years, but it doesn't have literally every little thing that you want, but you see redoing the kitchen in 2 or 3 years, So it could be that you buy this home on a 30-year mortgage now, but your intent is to refinance, take some cash out, redo the kitchen, and 3 years and maybe reduce that term to a 20-year, So getting started is the whole point. Getting into the home, you got to start somewhere. Waiting and continuing to wait as rates go up isn't going to do anybody any favors. Payments are going to be higher, everything else. So get in now while the rates are still low, while it still makes sense, your payment's still doable, and let's move on.
Yeah, and I was
I
telling
want
you.
to chime in on something real quick. So like what Lisa was speaking on, it kind of just jogged something. So I just, had 2 accepted offers come in yesterday, right? One of them, the pre-approval that I wrote was for 10% down. We'll go 175, I think it was. Well, the agent, when I'm speaking to the listing agent, she asked me, hey, I noticed that the pre-approval says 10% down, but this offer was written at 5% down. Can you tell me if there's an issue with the buyer's funds? And I said, absolutely not. But the buyer doesn't need to put 10% down to qualify. The 5% down offer was written in regards to if there's any type of appraisal issues, we want to make sure that we can cover that. Once the appraisal's in, we're going to convert back to 10% down. So the 5% offer that you're seeing has no bearing on what my client and what our buyer can bring to the table, but we need to prepare for any kind of offset of appraisals. And me just having that honest conversation turned the table, and our offer automatically went right to the top because of our communication skills that we offer for our clients. So that way everyone's on the same page all the time. It makes all the difference.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up, Becky and Matt. The landscape has really changed when it comes to the appraisal situation. It used to be all the realtors were adamant this house is going to appraise for $262,500. Now, every conversation you're having with every buyer and every seller is this house might not appraise, right?
Yeah, sometimes we're definitely preparing for it. I had a client that sold their house and we're rolling all those funds into the next deal, but I'm writing in the purchase agreement, hey, we're putting 25% down because we wanted to roll the funds in, but I'm reserving the right to change that term to cover an appraisal gap. So I might be bringing $100,000 down, but if I've got to cover a $20,000 appraisal gap, I'm just letting you know up front, I'm going to take 100,000 of that and I'm going to chop it down to 80. That way I can give you the extra 20 grand.
It's amazing how perspectives have changed.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The perspective in the landscape has changed when it comes to the value of the house.
Yeah, I mean, we really have swung to the other side of the pendulum, right? I mean, so things like we were talking about before, everything was, my house is definitely going to appraise, to now we're teeing people up saying, hey, this might not happen, and especially when we're writing in these guarantees and everything else that, you have to be prepared. And so that also puts on the table that the most money down isn't always the best offer, because somebody insists on putting their, like in Becky's scenario, 10% down, they're not changing it. That doesn't leave them room for any guarantee. That means if the house doesn't appraise, they can't make it up. So you really have to have communication with the loan officer and with the agent and explain why you're doing what you're doing. Yes, we reduce the down payment because we want to be able to guarantee any appraisal shortage that might happen. That means your seller is going to get every dollar that they wanted, based on this contract. So, having that communication and getting, a full understanding of what's going on versus I just want the most money down, I won't accept that, doesn't always make sense for the seller.
Right.
Alrighty, we're up against our second break here. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We got baseball all day here. Of course, coming up at 1 o'clock, Tiger Baseball is Mickey goes for his 3,000th hit. Also, when we come back, mortgages, real estate, how to win that offer, 248-539-9797. Keep it here. We are back. Thank you, Harry, for getting us going again. Harry wanted to ask about, local high school sports.
Well, because we're on the sports kick, we're on a sports station, number one station in Metropolitan Detroit, and it goes like this. Do you realize Miguel Cabrera is going for 3,000 hits? He could be the last Major League Baseball player that we see in our lifetime for 3,000 hits.
That's cool.
It's unbelievable. And people don't understand. Robinson Cano, who's second right now, has got 26 and change. He's 39 years old. If he needs 350 hits for 3,000, might not get it. And then after him, it's so far down, there's nobody there. So everybody out there, if you haven't done your homework and you don't realize how special this is, Miggy getting 3,000 in a sport, it's unbelievable. He might be the last person you see ever.
Right, we got a chance to catch that at 1 o'clock, and again, hopefully he does it there and we sweep. I'm looking for the sweep today, but keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. Of course, Pat Caputo will be coming up right after us to tell you all about it. And here on 97.1 The Ticket, we, of course, got football news, also NFL draft coming up later this week. So again, 97.1 is jamming. We are here to give you a mortgage and real estate talk. Matt Bush, of course, joins us, Remax first. We talk all about interesting stuff on the breaks also, Matt. And again, one of the cool things out there is real estate in general. It's exciting. It's fun. Nothing like having that plan. I'm going to go to a closing on Tuesday and looking forward to it, and I just could sort of look back to see this family's trials and tribulations, as they say, as they've made their way from another part of the state of Michigan and then moved down here. And now they're selling that house, taking some assets and buying another house. And they just keep moving forward in the right direction with a great plan.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a great realtor that I'm friends with. Shout out Ed Butler if you're out there listening. He had a client. They just closed on their house. They sold for $278,000. She bought her house fresh out of college at 22 for $199,000 in Royal Oak, and now she sold her house, leveled up, paid off her student loans, all of these things. So, the thing about real estate, it's a driver of generational wealth. You're setting not only yourself but your family and all the people after you up for success in life. Anybody who really wants to do that, it's a great way to invest and just set yourself up and your family. Like I said, it's been a great time in real estate. Like handing somebody, especially a first-time home buyer, the keys after you've been through the process. Maybe you've been beaten a few times. There's not a better feeling than letting that home buyer open that door. Typically when I do my final walkthroughs, I'll open a lockbox and then I'll give the key to the home buyer and be like, "Hey, it's yours now." And just that click is that when the deadbolt opens. There's not a sound in the world that is more gratifying than that.
Hey, Harry, I'm going to throw it to you, and then we'll go to Becky Alley. People just can't resist. There's no inventory out there, so they're going to get top dollar on the house. Some families here have said, you know what, if I can't find something after, then maybe I'll rent for a year. Some of those renters are already coming back to us and saying, you know what, I got to get back into this housing market again. I want something that appreciates. I don't want to pay the landlord.
Well, I believe this, and it's all situational. It's like baseball, right? Runners on base, do you move the runner over? What do you do? But it's your situation, your personal financial situation. It has to be right for you. Now, if you want to sit on the sidelines right now and you want to rent, go ahead and do it. But if you're going to sell your house, you say, well, if I can get top dollar for my house, well, where are you going to go? I mean, where are you going to go? You might have to rent. There's no houses on the market, let's face it. So if you sell your house for top dollar and you want to stay in the housing market, you're going to pay top dollar. So think about that. Now, if you want to go rent, how long are you going to go rent for? It has to be up to you and your own personal situation. I don't mind it either way if it works for you, but you really have to sit down. You really have to think about it.
See, and
the issue though is there's not even rent available though. There's nowhere for people to even go to rent for that short term kind of scenario that you can speak about. It's like I've somewhere. They might be moving in temporary with family, but they, so that little gap that they might be facing, so that's why when you're working with your agents, doing that, timing it out where if you have to list your house, you make sure that mortgage takes 30 days, then you have 60 days that you're negotiating for occupancy as a seller. So then that gives you 3 months to find somewhere to go because a lot of these, with their housing and the rent prices the way they are, I feel like rent a lot is off the table for a lot of these individuals as well.
And that's the new thing of 2022, I think. Last year was the year of appraisal guarantees. This year, it's the year of reverse contingencies, meaning I will sell you my house, but it's contingent on me finding another house, too. So that's the thing this year is, all right, cool, I'm going to put my house up for sale. I don't necessarily know when it's going to close or when I'm going to sell it because I'm also then going to take your offer that I've accepted and go find a house. And then once I found a house, I'll call you up and say, all right, cool. We found a house. We're moving. So double contingency.
To piggyback on that, that's why it's so important.
We all
Lock,
want that
Shop,
one.
and Go program. No, we have a Lock, Shop, and Go that helps with that. So you can lock a loan at a rate right now, 90 days, and that fits in with what Matt is talking about.
Yeah, but I got one for you right now. Lisa, Becky, Harvey, I'm going to put Matt on the spot right now. Then what's the realtor community calling us and saying, we got to close now, we got to close now, we got to close now for? Why? There's nowhere to go. Why?
I don't have as many of those as I used to.
I have them all the time. It has not stopped. It's gotten worse, actually. I want to know why.
I think it's a seller thing because the seller yells at the seller's agent, then the seller's agent calls and yells at us, the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
And it's like just the chain of screams. And then it goes, then we called this, I'm not going to call and scream at my buyer, so I've got to call and scream at a banker.
I have a real one, though.
Go ahead, Beck.
Yeah.
I got one we're closing in 15 days. Not business days, 15 days. We had a seller. They put their house on the market. They had an offer. They're closing on the 29th. Their agent hustled. I'm telling you, she got them 3 accepted offers in a matter of, so people are getting their offers accepted, and there are really good agents out there that are hustling. You're talking 3 accepted offers. The first 2 they walked away from because it was a bad inspection. Never waive your inspection because you're stuck with that house if you do, and it got too expensive. So they walked away from 2 of those accepted offers over a pass go. And then we got an accepted offer on April 12th, and I got the contract, and it said $429. And I said, dude, you're pinching me a little bit. You got me in a corner. We're going to do our best, but you're not even giving me 2 weeks here. And she said, I know, but I'm confident you can do it because they're closing on their other house on the 29th. If we can make this work, let's go. So in that situation, we're literally going to turn this file. We're going to be closing on the 29th. We're not going to miss that date. I got to clear to close on it already.
Right.
But that's in that situation. That is so the sellers have gotten themselves in line, or they've been out there looking, and their house has been on the market, and then they finally get this accepted offer. So then the pressure comes on us as the lender to turn around and flip that transaction extremely fast, right? But you can only do that if the buyers have their lives together and we in constant communication. Because I have everything, we could take that and you give me that baton, we're going to sprint.
All right, let me jump in with this real quick. More than often this happens. Something goes wrong, and if they don't close, they end up selling the house for more money. There are some gears. Sometimes that happens. Again, if something catastrophic happens, but
it doesn't.
Matt, these houses are closing. They're just closing straight up. And
I'm
people
telling
are buying
you right
houses.
now, and I'm going to get very adamant right now. Okay, if it's supposed to close on the 1st and we close on the 2nd, you're not selling that house in a day for more money. Please stop with that. That's the stalest,
Harry.
oldest excuse.
Harry, I wasn't saying that. No.
Stop.
We're saying this. If something catastrophic, I
meaning
that's
like they can't close.
Harry's going with right. They have a cash backup offer. They might
Stop with
nowadays.
that.
I
Stop
don't
with
know.
No, I think he means like if it didn't close at all
Right,
for some
I
reason.
know.
Like
It'll
somebody
close.
lost their job and we can't
Exactly.
close.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I understand what you mean.
Harry went with the old, hey, look, if you guys can't close on that date, then we have a backup. That's nonsense. And by the way, you're under contracts, folks.
Hey, Becky, I'm not going to say Harvey had one, all right? So, purchase agreement, it says the closing date is May 9th. We got it to close April 26th.
Closing Tuesday, Harry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And guess what? They're yelling.
No,
They're
they
yelling.
weren't.
It said May 9th. May 9th. We're closing 2 weeks early.
Matt, you know what happens? We get excited. We know things are going good. And as lenders, we want to call up the agents and say, hey, look, there's a really good possibility we're going to be able to move up this closing. Boy, that triggers craziness right there. But anyways, we are closing on the 26th. We're about 2 weeks in advance. Thank you, Harry, and your team for all the hard work. And if you want your mortgage closed quickly and efficiently, and more importantly, learn what you're doing. We always think that's the most important. Get this knowledge behind you. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Hey, we also have some open lines here in our last couple segments, 248-539-9797, as Matt Bush joined us from RE/MAX First. And, of course, Matt, you always got a lot of great information for us. Let's dive into a little bit of Detroit action. As I was down in the city a few times this week, and always fun, and I like getting down there. I even slithered into Greektown this week for a quick lunch. What is going on in the city? There still appears that we got these condo projects opening, and is it still as hot as it was even before the pandemic?
Absolutely. We're finding a lot more. People are kind of growing into the neighborhoods. So North End's super hot right now because same with like Marina District over on the east side.
Yeah.
North Corktown's growing really fast into Core City, which is kind of the new thing as well. I think it's really driven by people who 5-6 years ago moved downtown. They got that studio apartment for $600-700 when they could. They really grew down there. They loved it. And now they've partnered up. They found somebody, and they want to remain having those amenities close by, but they need a house now, or they need, their family's grown. They need a backyard for their dog, or they just don't want to live in an apartment building, like you said, we just had a pandemic, so they want a little bit of their own space. So those first neighborhoods just outside of that little bubble that we have downtown are really is where the huge growth is. Just north of the boulevard, west over there, just past Corktown, and then east side, like I said, Marina District's huge. Jefferson Chalmers, just south of Grosse Point's really huge. And yeah, always Eastern Market's awesome too.
All right, tons to share with you. We got a couple segments up here. Come and join our show. We got a couple of callers there. Stay on the line, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, 9:45. Boy, oh boy, April 23rd already? What is it?
My mom's birthday.
April
Happy
23rd.
Birthday, Mom.
All right, there you go. You got the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show again in our 23rd year. You can reach us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Coming up, baseball all day here on 97.1 The Ticket. Pat Caputo will be following us right after the show. Of course, we are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, where you can call and get a real approval letter, real approval letter, and go over all the details of a mortgage. I'm going to be going to the office right after to make sure we get somebody who wants to make an offer, get them prepared for home ownership. Matt Bush is right here. Remax first. He joins us. Lisa Lawson. Becky Ellie's still on the line. Let's roll out to our calls here. We've got George on the line. And good morning, George. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, hi. I was wondering, I have a daughter in college, and I'm kind of forcing her to save for a house, even though she doesn't know it. So I'm charging her like $500 a month for rent.
Okay.
And I'm just saving all that money. But I'm wondering, what would you advise doing with it to, see it grow or keep it safe? So that when she graduates college and wants to get a house, I can just say, hey, here's your down payment. Give it all back.
Right, you got some money. You can gift her that money, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing with it right now? Are you just putting it into like a savings account?
Yeah, basically it's doing, nothing. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be risky with it because the market's kind of volatile at the moment, and as you watch all these investments dump, but there are high-yield savings accounts, and most of them are online, and they can give you 2%, which is better than, nothing. And considering, how far away is she out from buying, do you think? I mean, you said she's in college.
She's still got 2 more years of college, so.
Yeah. I mean, I would still play it safe. I would say 24 months if that's what you're thinking she's going to buy when she graduates. I would probably put in something like a high-yield savings. I wouldn't probably play the market at the moment. Just because everything is tanking.
I'm not a financial advisor,
Yeah,
but I'm
me
always
either.
a big fan of index funds. So
Yeah.
I just throw it in an S&P index fund, and hopefully it grows. That would be my plan. But
if you can save $6,000 a year, you got a couple of years, you get $12,000. It's a nice little start
Yeah.
for someone. I've got daughters your age also, George. So yeah, it'd be nice that when they got out of school and they got their jobs and their feet underneath them again, if they're going to stay in Michigan or wherever they're going to move to, that's where they're going to consider buying at that point. And I think if you're able to fork over $10,000 or $12,000, they get out of school without a lot of debt. It's a good start. I think also, when you work, Matt Bush works a lot with first-time home buyers. I think when I sit down with families and they say, wait, that's all it costs? Again, you can get in if they've got that credit set up. Right now is a great time. I'm getting the credit card applications with my daughter's names on it. And if we can set up credit for younger adults, and again, financial literacy is everything.
Yeah.
You go ahead and you get that credit set up, and now they've got a little bit money because, the thing is, George, there's all sorts of zero down programs. The state of Michigan's got a program, the MISHDA program, where they'll give them up to $10,000 to purchase a house. So lots of opportunities out there. I like what you're saying. Why don't we also take it a step further and make sure that we set them up with maybe 1 or 2 credit cards, and again, just minimum payments each month, and pay it off each month. Don't even have to pay the
I
interest.
tell them, charge a tank of gas, wait to get the bill, pay the bill in full. Next month, charge a tank of gas, wait to get the bill, pay the bill in full. Your daughter's credit score
okay.
will be upper 700s. You only have to do that for a year, but she has to have it in her own name. Being an authorized user, although it's helpful,
It's not good enough, right.
is not going to help her establish her own credit.
Final thoughts, George.
Oh, okay. I've also stumbled across I-bonds. Do you think those are...
Oh, we're not
Because I
giving
hear
fin-
they're gonna
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got the wrong
I'm not
show for
really
financial
well-versed
advice. Got the
in-
wrong
Oh,
show.
okay.
Yeah,
that's Sunday at 9
sorry.
p.m. But also secured loans too. So if you want to do
Yeah.
a secured loan to yourself, that's another great way to put the credit. That's more of a kind of bank thing though. But yeah, index funds, credit cards, set yourself up for success. Your daughter's going to have a great pile of money.
There you go.
At 5% down for a first-time home buyer, you got $25,000. You're going to be doing great.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot for the call. All right.
Let's give a shout out to George here for setting his daughter up for success.
Yes.
Like he's teaching her right now budgeting,
Right.
what it's like to pay rent. He's preparing her to get into life to be a functioning member of society where she can sustain herself. She's learning what it's like to manage money, and in turn, he's going to turn around and bestow that hard-earned money that he's making her give up, but he's going to try to give it back to her. And I think that's a great way to set her up for success
Absolutely.
for the future. And so snaps to George for that, for sure.
All right, maybe he'll save $500 for all of our listeners out there, all of our kids out there. You definitely need them. Hey, let's roll off to a couple other calls here. We got Ann calling in, and you got a general question about the housing market. Go ahead.
Yes, my daughter, seems like a theme here, parents calling in for their kids.
I like it.
My daughter, she's looking for a low price range homes, and there's just a lot of problems with that. She's got good credit and everything. She got a pre-approval, but she's like approved for up to $150,000. So like, what kind of house can she look for? I mean, it's almost like she's got to start at like $100,000 house, and the market out there is like terrible. There's so many things wrong with these homes. What do they
I like
do?
that. Yeah. I like that. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, so it just depends on where you're looking because 150 in Macomb County is a lot different than 150 in Canton or Royal Oak. So it really completely depends on what market she's looking in. But if you're on the east side, 150,000 will still get you a pretty nice house. Yeah, you're going to have some issues with it. It's going to be an 80, 90-year-old house, maybe a bungalow, maybe a frame house. But there's nothing that a little bit of paint, a little bit of tuck pointing can't really go a long way. This housing market isn't coming down probably for the next 6 to 8 years. Like, I could be wildly wrong, but I see this entry level price point especially just growing. So what is $150,000 now is going to be $2.25 probably in the next 3 to 4 years. So there's going to be a lot of equity. So put in the sweat. Go to Ace Hardware. Watch a couple YouTube videos. Granted, you're not going to fix a house with a broken foundation. That sucks. But
right.
If it just
that's what she's finding. Yep. Everything is major issues, and she went ahead and did an inspection on one, and there were so many major things. She's like, "How many inspections can I pay for?"
Right.
In this price range, and and then people overblow on offers. Yep. She doesn't have a whole lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, and honestly, when I'm showing first-time home buyers, that's pretty much what I focus on is the foundation of a house, because everything above that you can cosmetically fix, right? It's got an ugly kitchen. Let me save up. Let me go to the countertop store and figure something out. But honestly, I would just say maybe focus more on those big things when you're doing the walkthroughs, so that way you're walking into a house with a bad foundation and you're spending $300 for the home inspector to come and tell you something that honestly your agent should have been able to be like, hey, there's something wrong here.
If you can already tell that, though, right? Hey, good call, Ann. I like that. You're right on point, too. Yeah. Also, first-time home buyers. I just put a younger girl in 139.9 in Redford Township. Some cities have affordable housing in them. And then this house turned out it was a flip. Sure enough, someone bought it for $80,000, put about $25,000. They made the basement dry, gave it a new furnace and a new roof. So structurally sound. If you can find the right house, I like where Matt Bush is going, and we'll follow up with you after, because maybe we need a better agent with better eyes. I mean, I don't want to keep blowing money on inspections.
We did have one of the houses where they just automatically said no. We can't. We can already see that this guy had a crack right through the kitchen, and so we're seeing that, but that's the problem. That's what we're finding.
Where are you looking at?
Where are you guys shopping?
Well, my daughter needs like Roseville, St. Clair Shores.
Yeah, East Point's great right now. Roseville's great. Maybe move up a little bit further into the lower part of Clinton Township. Actually, Mount Clemens is super hot right now. There's a lot going on there too.
So I agree with that.
Yeah. So don't get discouraged. It'll be out there. I firmly believe that the universe is going to put your daughter in the right house at the right time. It's just she just hasn't connected with the right one, and when you do, it'll all make this tumultuous process so worth it.
Matt and I are East Siders. They are out there. Like I said, there's a little bit of shortage. It might take a little bit longer, but she will find it.
Yep.
And then make sure that, I'm not sure who she's pre-approved with, but make sure they're talking about other options, because there's loan programs. I don't know what.
She's got that. She's got the MSHDA.
Okay.
Oh, good. She's ready to go.
Because the MSHDA will help her do guarantees and other things. So we just want to make sure that she's getting the right.
She's definitely close to getting something. Hopefully something will break here. A little bit more inventory coming in. Thanks for the call, Ann. We appreciate that.
Positive vibes. Positive vibes.
Yeah,
I just got a text from one of my brokers. We got something for $115 in Roseville. I'll connect with you after this.
There you go. We got Ann's number. We're going to connect her right away. At least there's a new house coming on the marketplace. Get the right people. They get these pocket listings. They got their pulse on what's going on in
we can't say pocket listings anymore, but we can say coming soon.
I can't say Super Bowl. I can't say pocket listings. What else can I say?
You can't say Super Bowl? I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
That was years ago.
Trademark thing.
Oh,
yeah.
If you've got some time here, maybe for a last caller, 248-539-9797. Matt Bush, tell us about a couple open houses.
Cool. So,
you got.
I have a brick ranch all redone at 13 and Harper in St. Clair Shores. The address is 22006 Share Street, between 13 and Masonic in Harper. We're going to hold that open tomorrow from 12 to 3. All brand new wood floors, brand new quartz countertops, detached garage, huge backyard. 224.9.
What?
Yep. It's
whoa.
Yeah.
224.
224.9.
That thing's getting bid up big time.
So we don't have any offers in hand, so I don't want to scare anybody away. And then that guy is actually going to buy a house out in the western suburbs. We're looking for a ranch. Doesn't have to be too big. So if you know of anybody who's looking to sell their ranch on the west side of the suburbs, basically Farmington to Ypsilanti, I'd love to hear from you. 248-539-9797, because I have a buyer for you. We can easily put it together. But yeah, come see me at 22006 Share Street in St. Clair Shores. That's 48082 tomorrow, right off of 94 and 13 Mile. Come check it out.
It's unbelievable out there. And again, he's got basically a 225 ranch with all some new stuff in it.
So completely done. You don't have to do anything. Just bring your toothbrush.
I don't know if you guys watch HGTV, but that house in California is like $1 million. I'm not sure if we have time to sneak in a phone call here. We got Eric's looking up. Nope. No, we got to get going here a little bit. Matt, we want to thank you always for coming in. Tons of information to always share with our listeners out
Thanks
there.
for
If we
having
didn't
me.
get to your phone call, we're going to call you right after the show here. Matt Bush, RE/MAX First. It's always great to have you. And again, Matt, we'll get you back in here over the summer and give us a pulse of what's going on. We're hoping Lisa Lawson and Becky, is there going to be, Matt, do you feel that way? Is there starting to be some more listings? Are you getting those phone calls? People are thinking about putting it on the market.
Yeah, I think now that the weather's turning, people are putting it up because now they can see where they're going to put their kids in school next year. Right now, it's just been really pushed by first-time home buyers. Hey, sellers, make sure that you're getting an earnest money deposit, the sign of your appraisal guarantee. So don't get burnt.
Yeah.
Earnest money deposit must be the size of your appraisal guarantee.
There you go. Put that money in there. If they've got the money, they'll put it up as an earnest
Right.
money deposit ahead of time. All right. Lots of helpful tips. Catch us next week, of course, on the Hardcore Mortgage Show. And, of course, we'll announce our guests this week. We got tons to share with you. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. That's a great place to get that strong approval letter. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. I see Pat Caputo. He's in the bullpen. Coming up next, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket.